Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture number 10 of Irrigation Engineering, first part of lecture number 10. Overall, in this lecture, we will start new chapter of our syllabus, which is about the dams. So, if we recall the previous two lectures, lecture number 8 and lecture number 9, so we have discussed different diversion and irrigation structures, and the main focus was the headworks. So as we know that we have two types of headworks. One is the diversion headworks and second one is the storage headworks. So the diversion headworks, for example, weir and barrage, that is already discussed in the previous two lectures. Now we will discuss mainly the storage headworks. Okay, as already we have discussed that headworks is any hydraulic structure which is constructed at the head or uptaking point of an irrigation canal just to raise the water level at the upstream side and properly take out some regular amount of water from the natural river. So that structure, that is called the headwork structure. Okay, so we will discuss the storage headworks, means dams. So in this lecture, first we will have a brief history and introduction about the dams, and then we will discuss the uses and parts of the dam structure. Okay, and then we will mainly discuss the different types of the dams. And remember, if we have any types of hydraulic structures, so first, based on the construction material, that from which type of material you are constructing the structure. For example, dams, either you are constructing it from the natural clay or natural rocks, or you are constructing it from the cement or concrete or from masonry. Okay, so based on the material, we will have different types of structure. We will have its different capacity, we will have its different condition, we will have its different hydraulic parameters, and also based on its shape and based on its design, based on a use, again we will have different types of the dam structures. Okay, so in this lecture, first we will have a brief history, and then we will discuss the dams, and then we will parts, and then we will discuss the types of the dam structure. Okay. So let's see from where the concept of the dam was come into existence. So also later on we will discuss different types of the dam structure, but remember the first concept which was developed, that was the gravity dam. Okay, that was the gravity dam. Again, from the name it is clear, also we have discussed it in the weir chapter, that any structure which resist, any structure which balance the destabilizing forces by its own weight, that is called the gravity structure. Okay, so now see, for example, if we have a natural stream or a natural river, and here we just construct an abstraction to store the water at the upstream side, then this structure will be called dams. We will discuss in details in the definitions, but just that abstraction is called the dam. Now you can see that the water which will be stored at the upstream side, it must exert some water pressure on the structure, that is called the water pressure. Okay, and also some pressure will be exerted upward due to the seepage water, that is called the uplift pressure. Also we will have some earthquake pressure if the structure is constructed in the seismic region. Also there will be the water wave pressure, there will be the wind pressure, there will be silt pressure. So all of these are called the destabilizing forces. Now, for example, if we construct the structure of such weight so that it may resist all of these forces, then this structure will be called the gravity structure. This will be called the gravity dam. So if we look into the history, if we look into the background, then the first concept which was developed, that was of the gravity dams. Okay, and that the gravity dams were the first type of dams that were constructed, and remember, it was just constructed from the stone bricks. Okay, from the natural material, and that was just constructed approximately 3000 years BC. From current 2020, it was approximately 5000 years ago, and that dam was constructed in the Egypt. Okay, and that dam was called is the Saddle Kafara, because that is it is an Arabian country, so it was its name Saddle Kafara, and its name is the dam of the pagan. Okay, pagan is just a person which is holding religious belief other than the main world religion. Okay, so it was just given the name that is the dam of the pagan. Okay, and and that dam was then covered by the limestone. Limestone was just applied to the dam to protect it from the erosions. Okay, and due to the bad workmanship, the dam was failed to be watertight eventually, and resulting in its erosion after only a few years. Okay, after just few years the dam was failed due to the bad workmanship. And another initial form of the gravity dam was constructed around 3000 or 2000 years ago. Okay, and again that was just simple earth dams, and some network of canals were constructed, and that concept was developed that just we have to store some amount of water in the season when the rainfall is abundantly available, and then they utilize that water in off season. Okay, so that was the first concept, that just we have to store the water and then we have to supply it the water for different purposes. So again that was another initial gravity dam that was almost constructed 3000 or 2000 BC, and that was again that was constructed in Jordan. Okay, and normally if we look into the history, then the dam of the concept of the dams came from the Arabian country. Okay, and these gravity dams were part of a water supply system. Remember, the main purpose at that time of the dam construction was just to store the water and then utilize that water in off season. Off season means when there is no rainfall, when there is no sufficient rainfall. So the water which is occurring in those months where the rainfall is enough and more than enough, then that water was stored and then it was supplied for the different domestic purposes, mainly domestic purposes. Okay, and then after that, if you look into the history, then the Romans built different gravity dams. Romans. Okay, and again some dams was constructed in Syria, and that was 284 AD, approximately 16 to 1700 ago. Okay, and again that was one of the largest reservoirs constructed by the Romans. Okay, and its height was almost its length was length of the dam was 6,262 feet. This much length of the dam was constructed. Okay, and it hold back up to about 90 million cubic meter of water. Okay, and also around 100 AD, approximately 1900, before the Romans became the first civilization to use concrete and mortar in the construction of gravity dams. At that time just clay was used as a binding material, and such type of clay mortar was used just for the construction of the gravity dams. Okay, and later on gravity dam used as a trapezoidal cross section. You can say that suppose that is a river, so they were just constructing an abstraction. That was first time it was just a rectangular shape, and then later on that shape was converted into, you can see, the trapezoidal shape. Okay, the bed width was more, then we have second layer of less width, then we have progressively next layer, and here you can see that the concept was that when we store the water, so it will exert the pressure on the structure, and that pressure is equal to, we know that is equal to gamma h. So the impact of the pressure at the top point will be less than as compared to the impact of the pressure at the bed point. Okay, so then the trapezoidal section, the later on the gravity dam used is a trapezoidal cross section, and this cross section eventually evolved into the common triangular cross section, and later on that trapezoidal was then converted into triangular shape when they recognize that at the head point there is less impact of the water pressure. Okay, so then it was we can say that then the concept was converted into the triangular cross section design up, and today's the concept of the dam construction is that triangular one. Okay, and the first version of a modern gravity dam was built between the 1765 and 1800. That was the modern version of the gravity dam which are currently available, and mainly that was constructed in Mexico. Okay, and after that they come to know the most advantageous cross section of a gravity dam was the triangular. I mean, after this then they come and recommended the triangular one is one of the most advantageous and economical and efficient structure. Okay, so that is just a brief history about the dams. Also, one of the oldest dams which are currently mean the location which are currently exist on the earth's surface, that is the Marib Dam, and that is in Yemen. And initially it was constructed in 750 BC and it took 100 years to complete. Okay, and at that time its height was just 4 meters. But later on in 1968, the dam was just reconstructed and its height was raised to 38 meters, and it can store 398 million cubic meter of water. Okay, so this is one of the oldest dams which are currently exist on the earth's surface. Okay, and in Pakistan, the statistic of the dam is that approximately there are 150 dams in Pakistan. Okay, and the major dam were constructed from 1960 to 1975. And remember, Pakistan has blessed that it holds the title of the largest dam which is constructed from the earthen material, and that is the Tharbela Dam. Remember, just that is largest based on the construction material. But remember, currently the dams are constructing the dams from concrete or masonry or from some artificial or rigid type of material, but the Tharbela Dam is constructed from the earthen material, mean mostly the natural topography of the area has been utilized. Okay, mean the natural condition of the location, the natural condition of the topography is used to store the water, to control the flow of water, and natural material is utilized. So based on that, the Tharbela Dam is one of the largest in the world. Okay, but if we look into the size of the dam based on the power generation and based on the water storage, so Three Gorges Dam, that is one of the largest in the world, and that is in China. And see, for example, if that is a river, and when we just construct a barrier across the river, so the length of the barrier of that Gorges Dam, that is approximately 2.3 kilometer, and its height of the barrier is 630 feet, or that is 192 meter. Okay, so based on the power generation and based on the storage or reservoir of water, the largest dam is Three Gorges Dam, but Tharbela Dam is largest based on the construction material, that it is just constructed from the earthen material. Okay, mostly the natural topography of the earth is being utilized for the storage of water. Okay, and after the development of the Portland cement, when the Portland cement come into the development, then the construction of super gravity dam such as the Hoover Dam, that was nearly 60% higher than the 2.5 times the size of any other dam in existence. I mean, at that time the highest dam which was, so the Hoover Dam was 60% higher. Okay, and 2.5 times the size of the existed dam. So it was just constructed from the Portland cement concrete. Okay, and here you can see that is their specification, that the height of the dam is the Hoover Dam, that is in 726.4 feet, and its width at the base is 660 feet, and at the top that is 45 feet. Remember, as also we have discussed that the effect of the pressure at the top is less than as compared to the effect of the pressure at the base. Okay, so the base width will be more than the top width. So the Hoover Dam base width is 660 feet at the bottom and 45 feet at the top. Okay, and its weight is 6.6 million ton, and it can generate 2000 megawatt. And remember, the storage capacity of this dam is that it can store the 2 years average flow of the Colorado River. I mean, the water which is coming in the Colorado River, its average flow, the 2-year average flow of that river can be stored in this river. So again, this is one of the dam which were constructed after just the development of the Portland cement. And today gravity dams are still being constructed out of concrete, but with the incorporation of post-tension steel or new development in their construction. And however the construction of the gravity dam is failed in the 1960, and the building of the massive structure has slowly been tapering up due to the high labor and construction cost involved. Okay, just simply the gravity dam was just we can say as construction was reduced due to the high cost and due to the high labor involvement. Okay, so nowadays different other types of dams are developed, and the concept is developed for different types of dams. Just we have to store and control the water. So other types like timber dam, steel dam, buttress dam, arch dam, they concepts was developed. Okay, so we will discuss later on in the types of the dams. We will discuss different types of the dam structure. Okay, now see what is dam. So okay, just to introduce the definition, basics definitions or international definition of the dam structure. So we can say that dam are massive barrier. Okay, that is just an abstraction. That is a type of the hydraulic structure because it deals with the flowing water, it deals with the water. So that's why it is a type of the hydraulic structure. It is a type of a heavy barrier which is constructed across a river, which is constructed across a stream, which is constructed across any natural waterway, and which can confine, which can control and store water on the upstream side. Okay, so a reservoir will form. Importantly, the structure which we are constructing across the river, the barrier which we are constructing across a river, okay, the hydraulic structure which we are constructing across a river, that is called dam. Okay, that structure, that specific structure is called dam. Now when we construct this structure, so for example, that is the direction of the flowing water, so this is called the upstream side and this is called the downstream side. So when we just construct the barrier, so the water will stored at the upstream side. So this artificial lake which is formed, this storage of water, this we can say that this ponded water, that is called what? That is called reservoir. Remember, make the difference between dam and reservoir. Dam is that hot structure, dam is that hydraulic structure, dam is actually that barrier and obstruction which we are constructing across the river, and due to this obstruction the water will controlled at the upstream side, the water will stored at the upstream side. So that artificial lake which is formed due to the obstruction, that is called the reservoir. Okay, so dams are massive barrier which is constructed across the river or any natural waterway which can control and store water on the upstream side. Okay, and then that water will be utilized for different purposes. Now that is the question, that why we are storing the water, why we are constructing these dam structures, why we are investing such a huge amount of money for the construction of these barriers. So then the water is utilized for different purposes, for example irrigation. And remember, these two are the main important purpose of the construction of dam. Remember, when we are just talking about the dam structure, so in our mind the power development come into our mind. Okay, the power generation, that how much power will be generated. But remember, the only and basic and the oldest purpose of the dam is just the storage of water and then utilizing that water for the irrigation and water supply purposes. Okay, because as we know that for example in an area, if the rainfall is highly irregular or highly variable, then the river natural flow will be variable and irregular. And remember, for a specific community and for a specific agricultural activities, we are requiring some control and specific and regular amount of water. Now how that water will be regularly supplied into the community or industry or into agricultural area? So we have to store the water in those months where when it is abundantly available, and then that stored water will be supplied for irrigation purposes, domestic purposes and industrial purposes in those months when there is no natural availability, when there is no rainfall. Okay, and also that stored water can be used for the hydropower, because when we just construct an obstruction, so the water will be stored at the upstream side, its level will be raised, and then we can say that that high head will be converted into the electric power. Power can be generated from that raised level of water. Okay, and also see, if we have a barrier, if we have a dam structure across the river, then the water, for example, if the flood occurred in the river, then the flood will be properly controlled in that reservoir, and then we can discharge it into the downstream area by a regular and controlled manner. Okay, so that can be, the barrier can be used as a flood control structure. Also, we can navigate through the structure, mean from one side to another side. Also, fish farming, that is another advantage. For example, if you just construct a barrier, so the fish farming can be developed in that area, and also that is a tourist spot will be created. Okay, mean it is it will be a type of recreation spot. Okay, so simply we can say that dam is just a barrier which is constructed across a natural waterway to store and control the water at the upstream side, and a reservoir will be formed, and then that water will be utilized for irrigation purposes, domestic and industrial water supply purposes, hydropower generation, flood control, navigation, fishing, and recreation. Okay. Also, we can say that a dam is a hydraulic structure that is mostly constructed from impervious material, because we have to control the flow of water, and that will be constructed across the river to create a reservoir on the upstream side. Okay, mean the water will be impounded on the upstream side, and a reservoir will be made, and then that water will be utilized by irrigation and water supply, hydropower, flood control, navigation, fishing, and recreation. Okay, so that is the main purpose which we have discussed. And see, dam and reservoir are complements of each other. So see, if we have a river, and when we just construct a reservoir across the river, so that is a dam, and due to that barrier the water will be impounded, a type of artificial lake will be formed at the upstream side, which is called the reservoir. Okay, and dams are generally constructed in mountainous reach of the river, where the valley is narrow and the foundation is good. Now remember, see where the dam will be constructed. Okay, yeah, we can say that which area will be best suitable, yeah, which site will be selected for the construction of dam. Okay, so mostly if we look into the selection condition, so actually we are looking into the contour map of the specific area. First we are just considering that suppose this province or this district is best suitable for the construction of dam. So that is the first initial step. Then we are looking into the contour map of the area, that which location will be best suitable for the construction of dam. In best specific location will be considered. So see, a valley type area will be selected, a narrow portion of the river will be selected, so that the length of the structure may be less. Okay, and again we have three types of the requirement for the we can say that for the selection of area for the dam construction site. First one is the feasibility. Okay, we have to look into the feasibility of the area, mean topography of the area, geology of the area, and climate, and the climate effects on the construction material. That for example, if there is variation occurring in the climate, so what will be its effect on the construction material. Okay, so first we look into the feasibility, mean topography, geology, and climate. Second, we are looking into the cost, that availability of the construction material near to the site, that will be accessible, abundantly available, the site will be accessible, transportation facility will be available, so the construction cost will be reduced. Third and most important, that is the foundation, that where you are constructing the dam, so what is the condition of the foundation. Okay, mean what is the bed condition of the river where you are constructing the structure. So again there are three requirements for the foundation, that the foundation will be strong. Okay, mean there will be no chances of the settlement. Second is there will be no shearing failure. See, suppose if that is the river, and here we construct a barrier, a structure, so that is the contact between the structure and the bed, so there will be no sliding, there will be no shear failure between the structure and the foundation. And third one, low hydraulic conductivity, mean the foundation will be impervious, there will be less hydraulic conductivity. Okay, there will be non-fractured rocks. Okay, so dams are generally constructed in the mountainous reach. Okay, so if you are constructing it in the mountainous reach, so there may be the possibility of the hard rock, so the foundation will be strong, shear failure will be less, and there will be low hydraulic conductivity. Okay, narrow area will be selected so that the construction cost may be reduced, and the feasibility will be low of the area. Okay, generally also that is a term also is used. Okay, hydropower station will be installed at the site to develop the hydropower. Remember, again, the basic purpose of the dam construction is just to store the water and then utilize it in the off season, and that utilization will be irrigation and water supply to domestic and industrial purposes. Okay, but additionally, secondarily, auxiliarily, we can produce the hydropower from that water. Okay, and remember, see, that is a type of huge structure is constructed. Actually, we have to control the flow of a river. Okay, so a massive structure will be constructed across the river, and it will require very high budget, and some power will be required, both manual power and mechanical power will be required, and it will take some time. Okay, the dam hydraulic structure, that is a type of the long-term project, okay, which can take more than 5 to 10 years. Okay, so these are then come into limitations, but we have to look into the advantages which can be achieved. Okay. Also, see, according to the International Commission on Large Dam, that is a type of international organization which was established in 1928, and its head office is located in France. Okay, International Commission on Large Dam, means there are different criteria. For example, one of the criteria is if the dam height is greater than 15 meter. Yeah, for example, if a dam stored more than 1 million cubic meter of water, it will be called large dam. Okay, so that is an organization which is dealing with the large dam. We will discuss later on in the types of the dams that, for example, a dam, if its height is greater than 15 meter, or if it can store more than 1 million cubic meter of water, then it will be categorized as a large dam. Okay, so this is an international commission which deals with such type of large dams. They say that a dam is a barrier. Yeah, that is a structure which is constructed across a river or stream or waterway, across any natural waterway, to store and control the flow of water. That is the standard international definition of the dam structure. Okay, any barrier which is constructed across a natural waterway just to store and control the flow of water. Okay, so dams vary in size from small earth embankment upon for farm used to large concrete structures. Okay, the structure will be either, the dam will be either constructed from we can say that from local material, and its storage capacity will be less. Okay, either it will be constructed from concrete structure and its storage capacity will be we can say that high. So based on the size of the storage, there are different types of dams, also based on the uses, also based on the construction material, based on the hydraulic design. So we have different types of the dam structure. Also, you can see that locally at the hilly area, the local people are just storing the rainfall water in a small reservoir or in small storage tanks, and then they are utilizing it for the irrigation purposes, for the domestic purposes. So it is also a type of dam. Or for example, at the national or international level, when you are constructing a large reservoir, so it is also a type of dam. Okay, so there is variation between the size, okay, among the size. The main types of the dams which are present in the world, that is embankment dam, gravity dam, and the arc dam. Okay, we will discuss in detail also. See, embankment dam is the one which are massive dams, and they are made of the earth or rocks. Okay, they rely on their weight to resist the flow of water, just like concrete gravity dams, but mostly they are constructed from the natural earth material or from the rocks material. Again, then it has different types: simple embankment, impervious foundation embankment, impervious core embankment. Okay, so these are just the main types, the principal types of the dam structure. And another one, we have the gravity dam. Already, as we have discussed in the first slide, is generally there. For example, a structure which is resisting all the destabilizing forces by its weight. Okay, the weight of the structure will be such that it resists the impact of the destabilizing forces. Then it will be called the gravity dam. The destabilizing forces mean, for example, if you construct a structure across a river, so there will be water pressure will be acting on it, uplift pressure will be there, earthquake pressure will be there, wave pressure will be there, wind pressure will be there, self will exert some pressure on the structure. So these are called the destabilizing forces. But if you construct such a massive or heavy structure so that all of these forces are balanced by the weight of the structure, then it will be called the gravity dam. And for example, see, we have a river. So if we construct a straight structure, that is called straight structure. And for example, if this structure is constructed curved in plane like this one, if the barrier is constructed curved in plane, then it is called the arc dam. Okay, we will discuss in detail. So these are just the principles, major types of the dams: embankment, gravity, and arc. And dams are constructed to store and control water for domestic water supply and irrigation, navigation, recreation, sedimentation control, flood control, and hydropower. Okay, so these are the main purposes that why we are storing the water. And multi-purpose dam, see, remember, sometimes the dams are just constructed for one purpose. This is already we have discussed that the water is stored in those seasons where the rainfall is abundantly occurring. Okay, so then we store the water in off season when there is no rainfall, then that water is utilized for irrigation purposes only. So that is a single purpose. Yeah, only that water is supplied for the domestic purposes. So that is only one purpose. Yeah, just we are constructing a barrier in a river just to control the flood water. So again, that will be a single purpose dam. But remember, if we are constructing just a barrier, if you are just constructing a reservoir in a natural waterway, so then different purposes can be achieved. For example, if we just constructed a barrier and the water is stored, then that water can be supplied for irrigation purposes, that water can be supplied for domestic and industrial purposes, the power can be generated, fish farming can be performed, we can say that a tourist spot can be created there. So several benefits can be achieved from a single project. Then it is called the multi-purpose dams. Okay, and see, as we are investing a huge amount of money, so for example, if from that single investment, if a number of objective is achieved, then it will be more effective project. Okay, we can see that a multi-purpose dam is a very important and cost-effective project for developing countries because the population receive many or several domestic and economical benefits from the single investment. So that is recommended that whenever you are constructing a dam, so it will be considered, yeah, it must be constructed as a multi-purpose structure. Okay. Also, we can say that a dam is a barrier which is built across a stream or river to hold and control the flow of water for drinking water supply purposes, irrigation, flood control, and hydropower generation. And a dam is a structure which is constructed across a river or stream to retain the water. Okay, the structure which resists external force by its weight. Mainly, any types of the dam, mean the weight is playing very important role to resist the destabilizing forces. Okay. So this type of structure are most durable, solid, and required little maintenance. The one which is resisting the forces by its weight, that is more, we can say, that durable and solid structure because it is more heavier than other types and it is resisting the forces by its weight. So its durability and its solidness is more. Okay, the dam may be constructed of masonry or concrete. Mean different types of material can be used for the construction of the dam structure. Mean masonry or concrete or earthen material will be used. Mean simply just clay or rocks. Okay, stone, bricks, steel, timber, even rubber can be used for the construction of the dam structure. But remember, the material required for its construction must be available locally or at short distance from the construction site. Okay, and they can be constructed on any dam site. As we have discussed that we have to look into the topography, we have to look into the cost of construction, and we have to look into the foundation condition. Mean the foundation will be strong enough to resist the weight of the structure. There will be no sliding shear failure between the structure and the foundation, and also the foundation will have low hydraulic conductivity. Okay. So here you can see that this is one of the just main side view of the barrier. See, for example, if that is a river, so here we are just constructing a barrier, a vertical structure, and as we have discussed that the water will be stored at the upstream side and it will exert some pressure on this structure which is equal to gamma h. So at this point the pressure is less, mean the impact of the pressure is less. Okay, and as we go down towards the bed of the river, the height of the water is increasing, so the impact of the pressure on the structure will be also increased. Okay, so we have to increase the width of the structure as we are going towards the bottom. Okay, so this is called the base of the dam, this is called the top portion of the dam. Okay, but sometimes the top portion of the dam is a little width is provided into the top portion just to create a walkway or a roadway at the top of the dam structure. Okay, so that will be another objective which will be achieved, that the people will walk on it. Yeah, it will be used for the transportation purposes. Okay, so a little bit just width is provided at the top surface, and this top surface of the structure is called what? That is called the crest. Okay, that is called the crest. And as we have discussed that the impact of the pressure at the base is more as compared to the top surface, so the base width can be increased. So the upstream side will be either completely vertical or some portion at the upstream side, we can say that some slopey or slanting edge will be provided at the upstream side, so that the base width may be increased furtherly, and the contact area between the structure and the foundation will be increased. Okay, and see the lowest point at the upstream side, see that is the river. Here you just construct a barrier. Okay, here you can see that is the side view, that barrier is constructed. So the lowest point at the upstream side which is in contact with the ground, that is called the heel point. The lowest point at the downstream side which is in contact with the ground or which is in contact with the river bed, that is called the toe point, and the top surface, that is called the crest. Okay, that is called the crest. See, and this is called the base. Yeah, that is called the bottom of the structure, and overall this is called the dam body. We will discuss in the parts of the dam structure. Okay, and see these are the different purposes. As already we have discussed that whenever we store the water, then it can be used for the irrigation. As we know that for irrigation we have to supply some regular and control amount of water throughout the season. Okay, so if the natural availability of water is irregular or non-uniform, then the water will be stored in those seasons when it is abundantly available, and then it will be regularly and periodically that water will be applied for irrigation purposes. Okay, and also that water, for example, if the quality of the water is okay, if it is clean water, okay, then it can be directly supplied for the drinking purposes or for the domestic purposes. Or if there is some impurities, then the water will be first conveyed into the treatment plant, and after the treatment of the water, then it will be supplied for the domestic purposes. Okay, also additionally, when we just construct a barrier, so the water will be stored and the level of the water will be raised at the upstream side. Now this head can be converted into the electric power. Okay, power will be generated. Okay, also the barrier which we are constructing across a river. Okay, suppose if we have a barrier, for example, a flood occurred in the river. Okay, so then you can see that if we have no such type of structure, then the flood water will be directly discharged into the downstream area, and it can cause damage into the downstream area. And for example, if we have that barrier, if we have that structure, then the flood water will be properly controlled here, and it will be properly stored, and then we can release it by some regular and controlled manner. Okay, so the impact of the flood will be reduced. And also we can say that a type of recreational spots will be constructed. Okay, we can say that the people will visit there and will enjoy the locality, and also we will have some means of transportation. Okay, so these are the different purposes. Now see, according to ICOL, approximately 72% of the dams are constructed as a single purpose dam, means just to store the water and then utilize it for the irrigation, domestic and industrial purposes. That is a single purpose dams, single purpose structure. Okay, see, irrigation is one of the most requirement, because the GDP or the economy of any country is depend on its agriculture. Okay, so if the rainfall is highly irregular, then the agricultural sector will be affected. So we have to store the water and then we have to utilize it in the off season. Okay, so if we look into the statistics, so 48.6% of the purpose of the hydraulic structure of the dam is just irrigation, just to store water and supply it for the irrigation. 17.4 is hydropower and 12.7 is water supply. So if we look into the supply of water from the reservoir, so that is approximately almost, that is 61.3%. Mean 61.3% purpose of the dam is just supply of water for irrigation, domestic or industrial. Okay, so that is the main purpose. Then only 17.4% purpose we have to generate the electric power. Okay, and 10% is flood control, 5.3% is recreation, 0.6 and 5.4% is other purposes. So again, remember that the basic target which we want to achieve from the construction of the dam, that is the supply of water for irrigation, domestic and industrial purposes in the off season, so that the country or the area may be protected from the droughts. Okay, then that is the representation. Okay, according to International Commission on Large Dam, 48.6 and 12.7 means approximately 61.3%. The main purpose of the dam construction is just the supply of water. Okay, and that is hydropower generation, that is flood control, and this one is the recreation and navigation and other purposes, fish farming, etc. Okay. Last one and most importantly, remember whenever we are constructing any types of the dam structure, so it will have also some limitations. Yeah, it will have also some negative impacts on the locality. Okay, so the main and major impact of the dam structure is the decreased amount of the downstream water. For example, if we have a river, and for example if we just construct a barrier at this point, so the water will be stored here, and obviously there will no flow at the downstream area, mean no water will be available at the downstream area. Okay, so that is one of the main negative impact, that whenever we construct a barrier or obstruction across a river, the water will be stored and controlled, and the supply of water to the downstream area will be reduced, mean there will be decreased amount of water will be available to the downstream area. And also see, when the dam is constructed, so the climate of the humidity will be more in the surroundings, and we can say that some marshy areas will be formed, and there may be chances of the spreading of some diseases which are causable from the water, which are also called the waterborne diseases. And the last one, that is the reduction in the fertility of the farmland. Remember, when we just stored the water, so there must be seepage from the reservoir, and the nearby area will be waterlogged, mean the water table will be raised into the earth surface. Okay, and as we know that the relationship between the yield and moisture content, see, when the moisture content is 0 or minimum, then the yield is less, and whenever the moisture content is increasing in the root zone, then the yield will be increased, and after some limit, if the moisture content is increased beyond that level, then the yield will be affected. So see, when we construct a dam structure, okay, so the nearby area will be waterlogged, the water level will be raised into the earth surface, the root zone will be completely filled up with water, and the fertility of the area will be affected, the crop yield will be affected. Okay, so these are the we can say these are the negative impacts of the dam structure, that the water at the downstream area is decreased, some waterborne disease will be spread out, and the fertility of the nearby area will be affected. Okay, so this was all about the brief history of the dam, and then we just introduced the dam structure and its purpose and the negative impact. The lecture is continued.